Last classes we are discussing about the partitioning in Hive, and already we came to know that why partitions is very important in Hive. Okay, so how we can define partitioning? That Hive organize tables into partitions. It means if you take the tables, right, the tables is what happens, it will divide into a number of partitions. You can make a number of partitions. Okay, so we can have number of partitions inside the tables. Okay, now this partitions is basically based on the column, right? We can partitions such as date. Okay, you can partitions such as date. Okay, so based on the column you can do partitions. We can partitions based on the city also. We can partitions based on the department. Depends upon the schema of the tables, we can do the partitions. And why partitioning is very important? Because if you do partitioning, we can reduce the execution time. The execution time is what is reduced, and query will be very fast. Okay, that's why it is easy to query a portion of the data. So if you want to have a portion of data, if you want to access portion of data, and if you do the partitioning, the query will be very fast. Okay, so in order to improve the query processing, we can use the concept called as partitioning into the Hive. Okay, now you're going to see some of the practical scenarios that already we discussed in the last classes, that why partitioning is very important. So these things we had discussed in the last classes. So today we're going to focusing about the types of partitioning. Okay, so partitioning in Hive, we have two types of partitioning we are having. One is called as static partitioning. Okay, static partitioning we have called as what? Static partitioning. Here what happens here, that in static partitioning we are going to do partition manually. Okay, it means we need to create the partitions manually and load the data. So here we are going to perform partitioning manually, and then you are going to load the data into that partitions. That is called as what? Partitioning, static partitioning. So there is no automatic process. We have to do it manually only. Okay. The next partitioning, which is called as dynamic partitioning. What partitioning? Dynamic partitions. Hive will automatically detect the data and create partitions. It means it will detect the data and create partitions based on the column. Okay. So it's going to detect the partitions based on the column. It is going to happen automatically. Okay. So if you want to create automatic partitions, we have to go for dynamic partitioning. Okay, and if you want to create a manual partitions, then Hive will allow for what? Hive will allow for what? Partitioning, static partitioning. So we have two options. You can go either static partitioning or dynamic partitioning. Okay, now you may ask one question, that when you use static partitioning and when you are going to use the dynamic partitioning. Okay, so in which scenario we are going to use static partitioning, in which scenario you are going to use for dynamic partition. So you are going to understand these things with help of from real-time examples. So why we need static partitioning? So let us take some example. See here the example is that suppose I have a file. Okay, I have a data in that file, and this data suppose it contains the name. Okay, name will be in these strings. Okay, name it contains, or it contains the, say it contains some number. Okay, you can call as the ID numbers, say it's ID number, and it's going to have email address. Okay, so we have a data in a file which contain the information in this way only. Okay, so suppose if you have four record. Okay, if you have record of Ram, then Srikant, then we have Prasad, then we have Ramesh. Okay, so this is 4 records are there. Now here the thing is that I know the Ram and Srikant belongs to which country? They belongs to India country. that I have a personal information. I know this information. Okay, I know this information personally, that these two people, that is Ram and Srikanth, they belongs to which country? They belongs to country called India. Similarly, these two person, Prasad and Ramesh, they belongs to which country? They belongs to country called as USA. So these informations I am having. Okay, so if I am having this information, what I can do is that I want to do some partitions. Okay, so I am going to do partitions based on the country, but based on the country. Okay, based on the country, I want to do some partitions. So based on the country, what I'll do, I'll create two partitions manually. Okay, because I have prior information about these peoples, they belongs to which country. So what I can do, I can create two partitions based on the country. So one partitions, what I'll do, I'll create for India, that is called as one partitions I create for country called India, and second partitions, what I'll do, I'll create a country called as what? Called as USA. What country? Called as USA. So we have two partitions. Now after creating these two partitions, these two partitions, how I created? I created manually, what, with the help of static partitions. With the help of static partitions, I created these two partitions manually based on the country. Now in India, I am going to place the data. Okay, place this record into here. So I have information of Ram, because Ram belongs to the country India, and I can call it Srikanth, they belongs to country India, like this. And similarly, I have information about these two people, Prasad, they belongs to which country? USA, and also Ramesh, they belong to which country? Call as USA. Now what we understand from this, that if we have some information is missed, and if you know that information personally, and if you know this information, you have extra information, then what you can do is that we can, with the help of static partitions, we can create a partitions, and you can just categorize the data. Okay, we can categorize the data based on the country. We can do partitions based on the country. So now I have a two folder. One is for India, one is for USA, and I am keeping data here. So it is very easy for me to search the people from India. If my query is I want data of India, directly I can go for which partitions? India partitions. Suppose I have a query, I want to know the name of the people who are residing in USA. I can go for USA and get data from there. Okay, so what happened here? My query processing will very fast, and for me it is very easy to access data from these partitions. Okay, so for this scenario, it is very advisable to go for what? To go for static partitioning only. Okay, which partitioning only? Static partitioning only. Now so how we can create static partitioning? Okay, as we know earlier that in Hive, the first thing is what you're doing, we are creating the table. You are creating the table you are creating. Once table is created, we are loading data into the table. You may ask question that why you are loading data into the Hive table? Because you know that the Hive is only meant for the used data set. We cannot insert one record to the Hive table. It is not advisable. Right? If you insert one record, then I insert another record, then I insert another record, it will take a lot of time. And for you, if you say 55,000 records, if you say 80,000 records, if it's millions of records, then it is very headache for every person, right, to insert each and every record to the table. So what we are doing is that we are taking the bulk amount of data sets and just you are loading into the Hive table. Okay, and one thing I will tell you that the Hive is going to process data only on the structured data. Okay, the Hive is not going to support semi-structured data, and it's not going to support unstructured data. So here we are talking about only the structured data. Structured data means what? We are going to create a schema, we are going to create the structure of the table, and after that only we are going to load the data into that table. Right? These things we know very much clearly. So here the same thing, the same phenomena we are going to use here also, that we are going to create a partitions, okay, and for that first of all you are going to create a table. So what is my table name here? My table name is the partitions user. Partition user is what? It is my table name. So create table, and what is my table name? Partitions user, and then you are going to define your fields with the data type. So what field you have? The first name. What is data type given? Where characters. Okay, I specify the limit also. Then you have the last name. Then again data type is what? Where character. Then address will be in the terms of string, city in the terms of where characters, and post office address also in the terms of string. Phone numbers is also given into where characters, phone to string, email string, website string. It means, so it has a different fields we have. We have different fields in which table. The table name is called as what? The partition users, and then partitions by country. So that you have going to mention here. We are going to mention is partitions by country. Okay, so you are going to do partitions by country and state. It means that we are going to have partitions by country and state, row format delimited, fields terminated by comma. Okay, so here we have to mention the partitions. Now we ask question whether it is a static partitioning or dynamic partitions, because I never mentioned in the syntax that it is a static partitioning or dynamic partitions. In that scenario, the Hive will allow by default static partitioning only. If you are not going to mention any kind of partitioning technique, by default it will take what? By default it will take only static partitioning. Okay, so this is what by default it is what? Partitioning, static partitioning, and we are going to do partitioning based on the country and the state. Okay, so this is what? Partitioning static, because by default the Hive allows you to perform static partitioning only. Then here, after once the table is created, we are going to load data into that table. Why you are loading? Because the Hive will have process on the last data sets, so we can dump the data directly to the table. We cannot dump by record. That's why we are using always the loading. Loading means what? Loading means your file will be there, that file you are going to dump into that table. That's why loading is required, right? We are not going to insert one by one record. So here you are going to do loading. So how we can do loading here? Load data local in path, because you are loading data from where? From the local file system. Okay, from local file system we are going to load the data, and here we have to mention the location, from which location the data will be loaded, from which locations we are going to load data. So we have to mention location, that is home/Cloudera, that is data will be available in desktop. And what is name of the file? Name of the file is what? Static.txt. You can give any file name, it is your wish. Okay, so just what file name I given? I given file name as a static.txt. Into table partitions user portions. Here I am going to do partitions. What is partitions I am doing? Based on the country. So I am giving the country name is what? Country name is India. And which states we are living? We are living in Andhra Pradesh. So I am giving state name is what? Andhra Pradesh. Okay, so now here what happens? The static partitions has been created, and how it's created? It created country called as India. And within India what state we have? We have a state called as what? A state? Andhra Pradesh. And inside Andhra Pradesh what data we have? We have data called as what? Static.txt. This data is available where? Into this Andhra Pradesh data. It means that this data, this file belongs to which state? It belongs to Andhra Pradesh states. Okay, so if I want data about Andhra Pradesh, directly I can go for this partitioning and I can get data very fastly. Okay, so like this what happens, the static partitions will be created. So when you are going to load this in table, this will be loaded. At the same time what happens, it creates partitions. And how it's going to create partitions? Based on the country and state. So it's going to have a partition like this. It's going to create a partitions India, and within India what we have a step called as AP, and within AP what we have that file. This is called as what partitioning? Static partitioning. Okay, so in default in Hive we are going to have a static partitioning only, right? Now you are going to see about the dynamic partitions next one. So here, what is dynamic partitioning? We know that dynamic partitioning means the Hive will create the partitions automatically. Okay, it detects the data, and based on the column is going to create the partitions automatically. So here we are accounting for automatic creation of partitions. Okay, partitions is being created automatically, okay, without any headache, without any ache, without any pain. You are going to get some partitioning. That is dynamic partitioning. Now, but the thing is that it is not default partitioning. Okay, we have to mention that I am going to perform dynamic partitioning, because the Hive will not allow you to do directly. You can directly go for dynamic partitioning. Okay, so if you want to perform dynamic partitioning, we have to follow certain protocol. You have to follow certain rules in order to perform dynamic partitioning. That is what here I am going to show you. So here, before doing dynamic partitioning, we need to enable. You need to enable this important command line. We have to enable. We have enabled set Hive dot execute dot dynamic dot partitions is equal to true. It means I am going to enable dynamic partitioning. So if you want to enable dynamic partitioning, the first thing is that we have to write this command without any fail. You have to write this command. Okay, this means that we are going to perform dynamic partitioning. That's why what we have given, we had given this true, just like boolean, true or false. Okay, false means we are not going to do dynamic partitioning. Next is that you have to write the second command. Okay, that is set.hive.ex execute dot max dot dynamic partitions dot mode is equal to non-stick. So what I am going to make, I am going to make non-stick mode, because we have two types of modes available. One is stick mode and one is non-stick mode. So we are going to do dynamic partitions under which mode? Under the non-strict mode only. So that must be mentioned here. You have to mention the second one also if you want to perform dynamic partitioning. Next, if you want to perform partitioning, we have to mention how much partitions you want to make, the maximum number of partitions we want to create. Okay, as per my convenient, I made how much partitioning here? Only 1000 partitions I can make per node. You can make it 5000, you can make it 10,000. It is configurable. You can configure it. Okay, as per your requirements, we can make a number of partitions. So that I had mentioned here. So these three important command line we need to execute if you want to perform what? If you want to perform the dynamic partitioning. Okay, so this is very important criteria to perform the dynamic partition. Now we're going to take scenarios. Okay, suppose if I'm not doing dynamic partitioning, then what will happen? How much time the query will take to execute? Okay, and after that you're going to see the dynamic partition. If I apply dynamic partition, then how much time it will take to execute the same query. Okay, so first you will going to see a simple real-time example. I'm going to create a table. I'm going to load data into table without dynamic partitioning, without partitioning, and I'm going to execute how much time it will take. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create dynamic partitioning. I'm going to see how much time it's going to take. Okay, so just for your better understanding, I give you these examples. So now let me say I'm creating the table in the same way we are always creating. I'm creating a table that is dynamic user, and I'm specifying the field with data types: first name, last name, address, country, then we have city, then we have state, then we have post office, phone, then we have phone to email, then we have web, raw format delimited by a comma, storage what file? Text file. So here in which format you are going to store? You are going to store as a text file. So you are going to create what table? Table name is what? Dynamic user. Then I am going to load data into that table, and what is my file name here? The file name is what? Data.txt. I am going to load where? I am going to load into dynamic user table. So once it is loaded, then I am going to fire the query. My query is what? Select first name from this table, the table which already we created just now. Select first name, phone 1, city from dynamic user, where country is equal to what? India, state is equal to what? Andhra Pradesh, order by city limit 5. So I'm going to get how much record? Only 5 record. And how I'm going to get the information? Based on the city. Based on the city, I'm going to get information from this table. This query is without, see, this query is having no partitions. They're not going to make any kind of partitions. Okay, no partitions as given. So how much time this query may take? It may take around 85.025 seconds. Just what I calculated. Because here you're not going to make any kind of partitioning, and this query will take this much of time. Okay. Now here order by city means what? Because in India we have many cities, right? Suppose in Andhra Pradesh you may have many cities, like you have cities, Guntur is there, we have Tirupati is there, we have Vijayawada is there. So based on the order, based on the alphabetic order, is going to arrange the data in that folder based on these queries. Okay. Now here we have no partitioning is there. So it may take some long time. Just assume that it may take how much time? 85.025 seconds to get the results. Now here I am going to apply dynamic partitioning here. So if you apply dynamic partitions, what you have to do? We have to run these 3 important command line. Okay, we have to run these 3. One is for true, you have to fix true values. Then we have to make it what is called non-strict. Then you have to make it how much partitions going to make. These 3 important line we have to enable before going to do what partitioning? Dynamic partitioning. Now I am going to create table for dynamic partitioning. Now here I am going to create table for what partitioning? Dynamic partitioning. Here what I did, I am creating the table name is partitioning users is my table name, and I am giving the first name, last name, address, where address, then post address, the same tables we have, phone 1, phone 2, then web address, partitions by country, state, row format delimited, fields terminated by comma. So this is what I am going to give, but here I am not going to specify the name of the country. Keep it in mind. In static partitioning, what we are doing, we are specifying the country name. The country name is India. What state is Andhra Pradesh. We are doing what in the case of static partitioning. Here we are not going to specify the country name as well as the state. Okay, this will going to detect automatically from your data sets. From your data is going to detect automatically the country name, and the state as per that is going to create the partitioning. Okay, so here I am going to insert into table partitioning. So I am going to insert the table partitioning, and I am going to partitioning what based on the country and state. Select first name, last name, address, city, post, phone number, phone to, email, web, country, states, from which table? Dynamic user table. So dynamic user tables I am taking, and from this dynamic user tables I am taking these following fields from this dynamic user tables, and this field what happens, and I am going to what? I am going to insert into where? Insert into this table, because dynamic users is already having the data. In this table already we have a data, already we loaded data, right? So what you're doing is that we are just trying to load the data from this table into partition user table. And what are the fields I'm going to selecting from this table? I'm selecting the first name, last name, address, city, post, phone number, phone to, email, like that. Okay, and I'm asking to do partitions, right? What partitions I'm doing? Based on the country and what? Based on the state. This is what the beauty in this dynamic partition. We are not mentioning the country name. We are not mentioning the state. So what dynamic partitions do? Dynamically it will search from the data sets, from the given data, where is the country and where is the state, and accordingly it will do the partitioning. That is called as what? Dynamic partitioning. So if you do dynamic partitioning, your queries will be very fast, it executes faster, and suppose previously we were taking 85 seconds, it may take maximum 25 seconds to execute these queries. Okay, so here what happens, the dynamic partition is going to work. So here it will execute on the, this query will be fired. Once you fire the query, it convert into the MapReduce programs, it interact to the data which is stored in SDFS, it will do this all kind of, it find all the data based on the country and states, and it will going to give you the results. Okay, so here what you observe that if you perform partitioning, we can reduce the execution time. Okay, we can do the query very faster. Okay, because our ultimate goal is what? The query should be fast. Okay, you should get the results whatever user expecting. Whatever I am expecting from the Hadoop, I can get the same results. Okay, so this will allow you to perform faster query operations, reliable operations, and you get the results at foremost, at earliest. Okay, that is the beauty of what? Beauty of the partitioning. Okay, now we are going to see another concept which is very important for you, that is called as bucketing. What is bucket? That everybody is having bucket. If you want to fetch water, you need to take bucket. If you want to purchase some items, right? If you are going to vegetable markets, you will take bucket and get some items. So bucket is used everywhere in real-time scenarios. So what is bucket? If you take water, if you take bucket for water, it is store the water. If you take bucket for the vegetables, it is store the vegetables. But here you are not going to store waters, and you are not going to store the vegetables here. We are going to see bucketing. So bucketing, why you need bucketing? That you try to analyze first. Of course, partitioning is very important. Partitioning make the query very faster. We get the results at very high rapid rate, no doubt at all. It's very good partitioning. But why you go for bucketing? That's my questions. Now let me give you some real-time scenarios to understand the concept of bucketing. Suppose I have 15 years of data I am having. How many years of data I am having? 15 years of data I am having. This data I can call as historical data. What data? I can call as historical data, because this data I am having, 15 years data I am having, that is called as what data? Historical data you having, call as historical data you having. Historical data you having. Okay, 15 years of data I have. Now 15 years of data means how many days we have? 15 years multiplied by 365, I think you will get about 5,475 days you will get. Now if you do partitioning based on the days, then how much partitions you require? We require 5,475 partition. Oh my God, this much bulky partitions. Can you expect? For 15 years data sets, for 15 years large data sets, and if you want to create partitions based on the days, we need to create how much partitioning? We need to create 5,475 partitioning, which is much bulky quantity. If you do like that, the Hadoop will say, oh my goodness, I cannot tackle this much of partitioning, please save me. Hadoop may cry. And your performance may decrease if you have more number of partitioning. So we have to improve the performance also. The performance of the Hadoop must be increased. Right? We have to improve the performance. At the same time, the querying processing should be very fast. It should not be slow. So to overcome this problem of huge and bulky partitioning, we came another concept which is called as what? Which is called as bucketing. Okay, this bucketing will going to solve what? Solve the problem of huge partitioning. This bucket will going to help you provide for the huge partitioning. For example, suppose you take your house. Okay, in my house I keep some say potato I keep in one place I keep onion, okay, in my home, okay, in my kitchen room. In one place I keep some some garlic. Okay, I keep some garlic. One place I keep some ginger, like this. What I'm doing, I'm keeping this onion in one shelf. One shelf we have a potato, one shelf we have onion, one shelf we have a garlic, like that. It means it occupies my kitchen room. My kitchen room is occupied by only vegetables. If anybody is visiting my kitchen rooms, they may scold me. How you keep this much of vegetables in shelf? Right? My kitchen rooms looks like dirty. It looks like not look like good. So you need to keep kitchen room very impressive, more impressive, right? So what I can do? The solution is that I'll bring one bucket. I'll bring one bucket, or I can bring one bucket. In this bucket, I can keep some data. This I'm going to keep here into this bucket. Okay. So in one bucket, I have this amount of data. So I'll place into kitchen room. So my kitchen room looks clean, and we can avoid this much of space. Okay, this real-time example what I am telling you. So here how we can use the same concept in case of Hive. Okay, how Hive can be used here, that we're going to see now. So here in bucketing, you understand the meaning of bucketing. So what we can do, we are going to have the bucket. We are going to create the many buckets. So suppose I am creating the bucket 0, bucket number 0, and I have the bucket number 1, I have the bucket number 2, I have the bucket number 3. Okay. In this bucket, I am going to have more amount of data, like this. It means your data is scattered among the buckets. So if my data is available in bucket 0, I can give queries to bucket 0, I get the data. If my data is available in bucket 1, simply I make queries on bucket 1, I will get the data. If my data is on bucket 2, I will give the queries, I get data from the bucket 2, and like that. Okay. So this bucketing will help you to improve the performance, and it also try to reduce the number of partitions. No need to make number of partitions using the bucketing. So now we're going to see. So you're going to see here how it's going to happen about the bucketing and how it works. You're going to see one by one. So I hope you understand the meaning of the bucketing. So what is bucketing? The bucketing in Hive is data organization techniques. It is similar to partitioning in Hive with an added functionalities that it divides a large data set into more managed parts known as bucket. So what we're doing, we're dividing this large data set into what? Into a number of buckets. Suppose if you have large data sets, we divide into a number of buckets. In some bucket you keep some data, in some bucket you keep some data, in some bucket you keep some data. Suppose if you have 3 buckets, in one buckets we have some data, in other buckets we have some data, in other buckets we have some data. So what you're doing is that you are dividing this large data set into more manageable parts known as bucket. So we can use bucketing in Hive when the implementation of partitions become difficult. However, it also divides partitions further in buckets. So you see, bucket is not only used for large data sets. Even though if you have partition, suppose I have partition 1. In partitions 1, you have a more data. Suppose if you have more data is there in partition 1. So within partition also, it is possible to create a bucket. What happened? Within partition also, we can create a bucket. Suppose I create a bucket within the partition. Suppose bucket number 4. This is my bucket number 4. So what I did, within these partitions I have some data is there. This data what I'll do, I'll place into the bucket. So bucket can be created within the partition. If you feel that if you have more data sets in the partitions, we can create a bucket within the partitions, and you can minimize we can minimize the number of partition also. Okay, within partition also it is possibility to have a buckets. Okay, now I will see you I can give you an example here how the data will be stored inside the bucket. So you can see that also. Now working of bucket in Hive. Now you see this diagram. What you understand from this diagram is very simple, right? Just imagination. We have a data. Suppose we have data 1, we have a data 2, we have a data 3. So if you want to implement the bucketing concept, we are using the functions called as what functions? Hash functions. What functions? Hash functions we are using. That is f of x modulo of 3. Why 3 I am keeping? This 3 is number of buckets. How many buckets I have created? 3. So I can call as 3 is indicate what? 3 indicate the number of buckets we have. Number of buckets we have, that is going to call as what? That is going to call as the 3. So here fx means, suppose I am taking the data 1. Okay, so 1 modulo of 3. 1 modulo of 3 means what? You are going to get 1. It means this data is going to store where? It is stored into bucket number 1 only. Bucket number 1 only. It means this data 1 will going to store into where? Into bucket number 1. If I am taking 2 modulo of 3, 2 modulo of 3 means this data is going to store into which bucket? The bucket number 2. Okay. If I say 3 modulo of 3, it means 0. So this data is going to store into where? Into the bucket 0. So here we are performing an operation so that we can store a data into the different bucket. Okay. So here how many buckets we had created? We had created the 3 buckets. So based on this hash functions, this data is going to be scattered, is going to be distributed into different bucket. Okay. So just as a simple example I am telling. Suppose if you have 1000 buckets, so you have to perform the same operation like this, and you are going to distribute this data into different buckets. In this way, what happens? This bucketing concept is going to work. It's going to work in this way only. Now, if you understand this one, let me come with some real scenarios how it's going to work here. Now, example you are going to see here. Now, what I am doing is that I am going to create a database. What is my database name is what? The bucket DB is by the database name. So I am going to use the same database as you know earlier. Then I am creating a table. What table I am creating? My table name is simple table, is my name of the table. In this tables, how many fields we have? ID, okay, data type is integer, first name, last name. So I have ID, first name and last name, row format delimited, field terminated by comma, store is what field? Store as a text file. So you are going to store in which file? You are going to store as a text file only. So this is a table we had created. Okay, so table is created, but in this table is empty because we had not loaded any data into this table. So for time being, this table is empty only, but this table is being already created. Once we hit this command, table is created. Now you are going to take this data. Okay, suppose we have this data, and what is the file name of this data is, what is file name is 4th year cac.txt is the name of the file. Okay, and already how you create data? Data is because the field is separated by what? Comma. So this is your ID number, this is your first name, and this is your last name. First name is what? So ID number is 1, first name is Nafiz Basa, second name is Muhammad. Similarly, we have this ID number 2, first name is what? Katragunta, and what is second name is Pawan Kumar. Like this, we have the following files available, following data is available. Inside which file? Inside 4th year cac.txt is the name of the file, and we have the following data into this file. Now this data what we're going to do? This data we are going to load into the table which you already created. What is table name created? The simple table we have created, and you're going to load this data into that table. Now you are going to load a data. You have to use the same thing, right? You are going to use, it's a local file system. So load data, local in path, that home / cloudera / desktop. What is the name of the file? 4th is cac.txt into the table name. What is table name is given? Sample_table. Okay, this is table name. It means this data is loaded into which table? Sample_table. Once it loaded, now I am going to now perform bucketing. So to perform bucketing, what I am doing is that I am going to create a table called as bucket_cac. In this table, I have the ID, first name and the last name as it is. And how many buckets I am going to create? I am going to create totally 5 buckets. How many buckets I am going to create? I am going to create totally 5 buckets. starting from 0. Start from 0 is 1 bucket, 1 is 1 bucket. Like this, we have how many buckets will be there? We have totally 5 buckets we are going to create. Because here I mentioned cluster by ID into how many buckets I am going to create. The 5 buckets, or you can call as buckets. Okay, you can write as what? Buckets. How many buckets I am going to create here? I am going to create the 5 buckets. Okay, 5 buckets I am going to create. Row format delimited, field terminated by comma. Storage what file? Storage the text file. Now it means this table is created and you are going to store is what file? Text file. Once this table is created, how many buckets already specified here? 5 buckets already specified. Now you are going to insert the data from where? Data from sample table to this table. What is table name is what? Bucket CSV. So I am going to write insert overwrite table bucket underscore CSV. Select star from here. From here, all this data from this table I am dumping here. If you dump here, what happens? The all data will going to insert here. Okay, insert here, right? So what is the name of the table? Bucket underscore CSV name of the table, and the meanwhile how many buckets it has created is going to create how many buckets? The 5 buckets. Okay, because here going to create the 5 buckets. So now all the data from this sample underscore table is what is being loaded into this table, and here we are going to place the data into different bucket based on ID number. Based on what number? Based on ID number. Suppose your ID number is 1. ID number is 1. 1 modulo 5. What is 1 modulo 5? It come 1, isn't it? It means this data, this ID number 1 data goes to which bucket? It goes to bucket number 1, like that. Suppose if you have ID number 2, then what you can do? ID number 2, what? Modulo 5. What are you going to get? You are going to get 2. So this ID number of 2 data will go to where? It go to which bucket? It go to bucket number 2. Okay. Similarly, if we have 3 modulo 5. Okay. What are you going to have? 3. So the ID number of 3 data will go to where? Go to which bucket? Is go to which bucket? Is go to bucket number 3. Suppose you have 4 modulo 5. It means 4. So ID number 4 data will go to which bucket? It go to bucket 4, like that. If you have 5 modulo 5, it means 0. It means this ID number of 5 bucket will go, ID number of 5 data will go to which bucket? Is go to which bucket? Bucket 0. If I am going to say ID number 5, if you have ID number 10, suppose if you have ID number of 15, suppose we have ID number of 20 you have. If you do modulo by 5, what are you going to get? We are going to get 0. It means that the ID number 5, ID number 10, ID number 15, ID number 20, what data will be? Data automatically placed into which bucket? Into bucket number 0. So all this ID number 5, ID number 10, ID number 15, ID number 20, this data will be placed into which bucket? Bucket number 0. Okay. So now your bucket has been created. We loaded the information from this sample table into where? Into bucket underscore CSV. Now we are going to see the result like this. Now I want to see in bucket number 0 what kind of data is being stored. So if you want to see, I am going to write this command HDFS DFS space hyphen cat user hive warehouse, because inside warehouse what we have? We have the bucket.db database, then we have bucket underscore CSV is what is the name of the table, and this is a bucket number. What number we have? We have the bucket number. So I am going to see the information in this bucket number. In this bucket number, what data is being stored? So can you guess which ID number will have in bucket number 0? Now you can guess which in bucket number 0 which ID will go into the bucket number 0. See, if you say 10, ID number 10, the information of this ID will go to which bucket? Bucket number 0. If you say 15, okay, the 15 ID will go to which bucket? Bucket number 0. If you say 20, the information of 20 will go to which number? Bucket number 0. So if you give this command, what will happen? If you give this command, this bucket number 0, we can file the information of ID 5 we can have, If you see ID 15, you can have information on this bucket like that. If you have ID number 20, we have information into this bucket. Okay. So how many buckets we have created here? Totally we had created the 5 buckets. Okay. So if you use the concept of the bucketing, it means that we can manage your huge data sets in very good way, in a very beautiful way, and also the querying processing will be very fast. So this is concept about the concept of the bucketing. Now you are going to see the next call is the user defined functions. Okay, what is user defined functions in Hive? See, the Hive you bring you different types of functions. You may have a different types of functions in a Hive. One is called as inbuilt functions, that is ready-made available in Hive. Ready-made, it is available. If you want to use the functions, ready-madely you can use the functions, you can perform the operations, you can run the complex queries, you get the results. That is called as what? Inbuilt functions in Hive. Okay. So here suppose one kind of function, suppose I am the user and I want to create the new functions, or I want to create a new user defined functions. You can create it. Okay. So if you create a new functions, that is going to call as what? User defined functions, right? I can define my own functions and I can use in Hive. Okay. So here this UDF allow you to create custom functions to process record or groups of record. Hive comes with comprehensive library of functions. See, Hives also have their inbuilt functions, and also Hive allow you to create your own functions. Suppose if you want to run a complex query, okay, if you want to run complex query, we can create your own functions, and by using these own functions we can run this complex query also. Okay. So it allow the user to create your own functions, which is called as user defined functions, or in Hive also you can find inbuilt functions. Okay. So you are going to see some of the inbuilt function also. See, inbuilt functions in Hive. If you want to see how many functions are available in Hive, you just write this command Hive show functions. Hive show function. If you write this command, what happens? We can find all the functions inside the Hive. Or if you want to describe functions name. It means I want to know only particular functions, information about the particular functions name. Okay. Particularly what happens, I want to know only the information about the particular functions name. In this case, I can use this command describe functions, and you have to give the functions name. Okay. Suppose if I write describe functions, and functions name is what? Concat. Suppose if I am giving. So what happens? The information about this concat functions, you will get all the information about this function itself. Now here suppose describe functions, I am writing what? Concat. So what happens? We have information about these functions, what these functions will do, what is the operation of these functions, every description you are going to get about these functions. Okay. And if you want to give show functions, we find all the functions which is already available in the Hive. For example, if I am going to see like this, select concat first name, last name as full name from employee. So we have a table called as employee. In this employee we have what? We have the first name and the last name. Okay. So what I am going to do, I am going to combine this first name and last name. So if you want to combine the first name and last name, what I will do, I am going to use what? Concatenate. I can use concat. Concat is my function's name, and I am going to have two important arguments. I am going to have two arguments I am going to pass. What two arguments I am having? I am having the first name and last name. Okay. So if you are going to give these functions concat, what happens? Is going to combine these two, first name and last name, and display what? It displays a full name from the employee. Okay. So these functions are basically used to combine the arguments, right? If you want to combine, you can use concat. So this concat is what? It is inbuilt function which is available in Hive. Okay. Like this. Now how to create user defined functions in Hive? Okay, these are all inbuilt functions you can get into Hive. It help you the user to run the complex query using functions also. Okay. But suppose if I want to create my own user defined functions, how I can create? Okay. very simple way is that if I want to create my own user defined functions, I can use a Java programming, I can use Java code. Okay, in Java code what happens, I am going to write all the logic. After writing logic, what happens, I create the jar file, and this jar file, what I will do, after creating jar file, I will insert into the Hive cell. I insert into the Hive, and after inserting into the Hive, I can use as a user defined function. So what I am doing here is that I am creating user defined function with the help of the Java program, and I am writing all the logics, all the programming logics into the Java. And after that, what I am doing, I am creating the jar file. I am creating the jar file. Okay, jar file, and this jar file, what I am doing, I am adding where, I am adding into the Hive cell. I am adding into the Hive cell, and after adding, I can use it. I can use as a user defined functions, and by using this user defined functions, I can run the complex queries. Okay, this is what I can create user defined functions. So for that, let me make you to understand some real scenarios, some real time scenarios, how it works. Okay. Suppose I have a file. In this file, I have the ID number, or suppose you take age. This is the age. I have the age. Age is 21. This is I am having the first name. That is called as first name, F name, and this is I am going to call as the last name. So in this file we have two records. For your simplicity, I am taking two records. For the simplicity, I am just taking the two records. One is called as we have the age, then we have the first name and last name. But my case is here if you see the first name, we have $1, we have a $2 here, we have $1 here. I want to remove the $. I want to display as 21, then Murli I want to display, and then Krishna I want to display. It means the first name should be in that way only. I don't want $. Should be attached in the first name. The $. Should be removed from the first name. That is my problem. Okay, here we have a $, and I don't want $. Should be attached in the first name. Now for this, what I can do, I can create my own UDF, user defined functions in Hive. So I can write a logic in the form of Java program. Then I can create a jar file. This jar file I can load into the Hive cell, and after loading, I can use as what? I can use as a user defined functions. So for this, I can write some Java code. Okay. So how I am going to create this user defined function is that in this way I can create user defined functions. Now here I am writing some Java code. Okay, because my aim is what? To remove $. From the first name. So I am using public class. What is my class name? Is remove character, and what it is extended to user defined functions, and I am taking some object name which is called as call value. So new text value is assigned to what? Assigned to these objects, and then I am using a method which is going to call as what? Evaluate method. Okay, and in this method we have the two argument, string in the forms of text we have, and character name what? In the forms of strings we have. Okay, so this method what it will do means it will accept your, suppose I am giving first name. Okay, the first name will be assigned to here as a text to this string, and what character I am going to remove? I want to remove $. So what $? Will be assigned to this argument. Okay, so we have two arguments. I am going to assign first name to this one and $. To this one. Okay, and then if string is null, then I am going to return this string. If the string is null, means I am going to return the same thing. Then I can use co-value.set. I can use a method here also, string utilities dot strip dot to string and character remove. So here what happens, whatever the string I am giving into my Hive cell, that is converted into the string only. Okay, and then what characters I am going to remove? I am going to remove what character? The $ characters I am going to remove, that I am going to specify. Okay, after that you are going to get what? You are going to get the exalt new text, and new text is what? New text is assigned to call value, that is the object. Which object? We have the call value objects. Okay, so in this fashion what happens, you are going to remove the $ from the given text. Okay, so now first of all you have to write this coding, and after writing this coding what happens, you create a jar file, and then you have to add into the Hive cell. So now what I did, I had created the jar file. Jar file has been created. That then I'm going to add this jar file. Okay, add jar, then home / Hadoop download. I give me the location where I'm going to add this jar file, hive udf.jar. It means my jar file is being already added. Once jar file is added, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create a temporary functions. I'm going to create the temporary functions. You can call it temporary functions also, or if you don't want to make temporary, you just remove this temporary. You get is what functions. Okay, temporary means what? You can delete at any time. Okay, so I'm creating temporary functions that remove character. That remove character as remove char, because here remove char is what? It is a method which is defined in your jar file. Okay, now after that what I'm doing is that I'm going to write this command like this: select remove character. This is the first name, okay, and this is what del. Which character I want to remove? I want to remove which character? The dollar characters I want to remove from which table? From table name is called as temporary table. Okay, and if you just pass these queries, you're going to get what result? Murli. Now Murli you have no dollars. It means your dollar is what? Dollar is removed using what? Using UDF, that is user defined functions. Okay, so likewise what happens? You can create your own functions by using the jar program. You can write a jar program. You can write a program, then convert into jar file, add into the Hive cell, and then in Hive cell you can run these queries so that you can get proper solution, right? You can solve your problem. So this is how we are creating the user defined functions in the Hive. Okay. Next class is going to see the other types of user defined functions that we discuss in the next class. So for today classes, thank you very much for your cooperations, right?